So I think the important thing to note there is if it's a data bridge which the UK strikes, then clearly it gives an opportunity for UK-based companies to use that data bridge so they don't need to use their own bespoke transfer mechanisms. However, of course, if a company is based in the EU, it will still need to rely on other mechanisms provided for under EU GDPR in the absence of any data bridge. Obviously, though, it's up to individual companies to decide what approach to take. And even a UK company could decide to use their own standard contractual clauses, for example. But if it's okay, Michael, I'd also like to emphasize that we're only going to be striking these data bridges on the basis of a really rigorous assessment and ensuring that the individual country has high data protection standards. And what we'll be doing is not only looking at the laws themselves, but we'll be looking at how they're implemented, enforced, and supervised. So as we were sort of consulting on, well, what reforms could we make to enable British business and researchers and the public sector to make better use of data? One thing that came up overall, including in this space, was more certainty. So as you know, personal data isn't actually defined. It's not defined in our Data Protection Act either, or UK GDPR. And yet, when is data anonymous? And how can we give people greater certainty to use data for really valuable purposes, such as in research? So we have decided to give greater certainty in this space based upon, and this is very important, recital 26 of the GDPR. What is the identifiability test that you should be undertaking to see whether data could be brought together through whatever processes or by whatever people in your organization or outside of your organization? But because we're using the same test, but just giving it greater statutory authority and clarity, we don't think that should be too much of a divergence or a problem, but it will enable people to use that data with more confidence.
Yeah, also there, it's a little bit mixed feelings. We achieved in the AI Act to, for example, hopefully foster information sharing along the AI value chain and trying to force sometimes even large internet companies to share the necessary information with their customers that would potentially bear most of the obligations of the AI Act. So there I think we did a good thing and we are probably fostering digital competition. When it's coming to the legal uncertainty that I was mentioning, I think this will be, at least for some time, harmful for European companies. They probably cannot invest and develop as freely as our, for example, US companies, and probably they will fall back a little bit, or the gap between Europe and US and China will even widen. And also when it comes to the different government styles, yeah, it's very different approaches, and we all hope that now in the next months the US government and the European Union, the Commission, are really trying to align everything more. But of course, if you have very different concepts, alignment is not always easy. And I guess there will be a little bit of competition if there's a Brussels effect or a Washington effect. So who is basically leading with their AI policy approach? Time will tell.